Hello and welcome to this tutorial, and in this tutorial we'll be creating an application which is called as a workout advisor. So the workout advisor is basically help you to go through your workout. So for example, if you select a chest workout, then it is going to list out the workout schedule for you. So in order to create this application, we first need to select a new Android project. So we simply click here, which is start a new Android Studio project. And let's name this application as Workouts Advisor. Then click next. And the API level which we are going to select in this case is going to be the API level 15. Then we click next. And the activity which we are going to choose is going to be the blank activity. So make sure that you select the blank activity and then hit next. And finally we are going to create our activity, and we are going to name this activity as Find Workout Activity. And we are going to name this activity as Find Workout Activity because this activity right here is going to find the workouts for us. So when we name it, we simply hit finish. So as you could see, this is the basic layout which we get on creating a project. So the first thing which we will need to do is that we will need to discuss the layout of our application. So basically this workouts advisor is going to have a certain set of options. So right over here we are going to have an input such as a list box or the drop down menu, and after the drop down menu we are going to have a button right over here. So the drop down menu is going to consist of options like for which body part you want to work out for. So for example, this drop down menu will contain options like chest, legs, biceps and triceps, and then we are going to have a button right over here. So when we select an appropriate body part and when we hit the button right here, it is going to list out the workouts which we need to perform. So without wasting any time, let's go ahead and create the layout for this. So in this case, what we are going to do is that instead of just dragging the elements onto the screen, we are going to type in some XML code. So go to the text view, and the first thing which we will need to do is that we are going to set an ID for this text view right here. So in order to set an ID, we type Android ID equals @ID, and let's say we name this as text view. And now once we have this text view ID with us, the next thing which we'll need to add is going to be a button. So in order to add a button, we go here and we use the button tag. So we type button, and the layout width is going to be wrap content, and also the layout height is going to be wrap content. Now once the layout width and height are set, the next thing which we will need to do is that we will need to leave some margin from the top. But before leaving some margin, let's go ahead and let's assign some ID to the button so that the button could be uniquely identified. So in order to assign an ID, we type Android ID equals @ID, and let's say we assign this an ID of, let's say, button. Now once we have assigned the ID, the next thing which we do is that we need to set the text of this button. So in order to set the text, we type Android text, and let's say the text in the button is new button. So now if we switch to the design view, as you could see, this is our layout and the button is actually getting placed onto the text. So the next thing which we'll need to do is that we'll need to shift the button below the text view. So as we are using the relative layout, we could specify where the button should be placed. So in order to do that, we type Android layout underscore below, and then we specify the ID of a particular widget under which we want to place this button. So in this case, we want to place it below the text view. So the ID for text view is nothing but text view. So once we add that line, as you could notice, the button is now placed right below the text view, and that is because we are using the relative layout. So basically relative layout gives us an option to place the elements relative to each other. So now once we are done with this, the next thing which we need to do is that we need to add the list box or the selection box right here, which is going to contain a lot of options for us to select from. So in this case, in Android, we are going to use something which is called as the spinner. So a spinner is similar to the list box. So you basically have a set of options which you could select from. So we go right here and we add the spinner. So the tag which we are using to create the spinner is going to be spinner, and also to specify the layout width we use wrap content, and for the layout height we use wrap content as well. So there are some other things which we need to specify into the spinner. The first thing is going to be the ID of the spinner. So we type in Android ID equals @+id, and as the spinner is going to contain the workout type, we are going to name it as workout type. Now once we have specified the ID, you could just switch on to the design view, and as you could see, this is our spinner. But the thing is that we cannot actually have a look at it clearly, and that is because each and every element is placed onto one another. So let's go ahead and fix that. So the first thing which we'll need to do is that you'll need to leave some margin for the spinner from the top. So in order to leave some margin, we type Android layout margin top, and from the top, let's say we want the margin to be 35 dp. So if you switch to design view, you could see that it is placed well below. Then we type Android layout align parent top, and we set this to true. So now if we switch to the design view, as you could see, the button is still here. So the next thing which we'll need to do is that we'll need to place the button relative to the sub item. So we go inside the button right here, and before changing the layout of the button, let's go ahead and change the ID of the button. So as this button is going to find the workouts for us when we click it, so we name it as find workout. So now the spinner has the ID of workout type, the button has the ID of find workout. So in order to place the button properly, we go here and we type Android layout underscore align left, and to the left we specify an ID, and we specify the ID as workout type. And one more thing which we change in the button is that this text view right here. So instead of using the text view, we are going to specify here the workout type, as we want to place it below the spinner. So we specify here workout type. And if we switch to design view, as you could see, now the button is placed down here, and now we want to place this text right below the button. So in order to do that, we go right here in the text view and we type in Android layout below, and as we want to specify it below the button, so we check the ID of the button. So the ID of the button is find workout. So we type here find workout, and now if you switch to design view, as you could see, everything is aligned properly. Now the next thing which we need to do is that when we click on the button right here, as you could see, a light bulb appears. So the thing is that you need to set the reference to this button right here. So in order to add a reference to this, we simply click right here, then we click on this arrow and we type in extract string resource, and we name this resource as find workout, then we hit enter. Now the next thing which we need to do is that we need to add a string reference to this hello world or the text view right here. So this is our text view. Now if we want to change it to, let's say, workouts here, and if we switch to design view, as you could see, the text changed, but it is going to show us a light bulb right over here, and that is because we have not set the string resource for it. So in order to set the string resource, we simply click on it and we click this arrow right here and we select extract string resource, and the resource name which we are going to use for this is going to be workout. So once we have workout, so now we simply click OK, and the string resource would be added to this right here. Now if we switch to the XML file which is present right over here in the values and inside the strings.xml, you could see that we have reference to the string. Now if you want to change this to something else, so if you want to say your workouts here, now if we switch back to the XML file, as you could see, the text has been successfully changed. So one more thing which you could do is that if you are finding it difficult to design the user interface by just going into the XML, so you could also drag these elements and drop it to the place which you desire. So for example, if you want to place it to center, we simply drag it and place it over here. So now let's save the code and let's try to run this application onto the emulator so as to check if we have performed everything correctly. So as you could see, our application has been started on the emulator. So it is displaying the name Workouts Advisor, and here we have our spinner. So basically we have not yet added any elements onto the spinner. So in the next tutorial we'll be adding some elements to the spinner, such as the body part which we want to train. And then we have our button here, and here the workouts will be displayed. So this kind of gives you the basic idea of how our app works. So basically here we are going to have the body parts which we need to train, and then we are going to hit this button right here, and depending upon the part selected, it is going to suggest certain workouts for it. So that's it for this tutorial, and in the next tutorial we are going to add up the elements to the spinner so that we could have choices between them. And when we select a particular choice, and then when we hit this button right over here, we get the suggestions depending upon the option selected. We'll be adding some elements to this spinner right here. So as you could see, this is the basic layout of our application, and when we ran this application onto the emulator, we could see that the spinner right here is going to be empty, and that is because we have not yet added any elements to it. So in order to add elements to the spinner, one thing which you could do is that you could go into the XML right here, and as you could see, this is our spinner right here. So we could add up elements right over here, but when we are going to add the elements to the spinner in the XML file, it is going to give us an error. So in order to avoid that, what we are going to do is that we are going to go in this strings.xml file, and we are going to create the items which we want to add up in the spinner, and then we return back to the spinner right here, and we reference these items which are stored in the string into the XML file and within the spinner. So if you don't understand what I'm talking about, just follow along the tutorial and you'll get it. So the first thing which we'll need to do is that we'll need to add some items to the spinner. So instead of directly adding these items right over here in the XML file, we go into the strings.xml and we add up the spinner elements right over here. So the main thing about the spinner is that it is going to contain a lot of elements. So in order to have a lot of items in the spinner, we use a string array. So a string array is basically a collection of strings, or we could say that it is an array of strings in which we could store our items. So in order to create a string array, we type string array, and then we want to specify the name for our string array. So let's say we specify the name as workout_types. So this is our string array tags, and in between these tags we are going to specify the items which we are going to add. Now one more thing which you need to remember is that whenever we are going to create a string array, or whenever we are adding an ID to the widgets, you make sure that you note these IDs down somewhere, and that is because we are going to be needing these IDs, and it is crucially important that we use the same IDs which we have referenced here. Now as the names of these IDs are a bit similar, you might get confused, so in order to avoid confusion, you just note these IDs down somewhere else, so that whenever we need to use this ID, we could have a reference to it. So now let's get back to the string array. So this is our string array, and the string array is going to hold certain number of elements for us. So in order to add up items to the string array, we simply use the items tag. So we type item and /item, and within these two we are going to specify the item which we need to add. Now in this case, inside the spinner we want to specify the body parts, as depending upon the body parts, our application is going to suggest us some workouts. So let's add up the body parts. So let's say the first body part we want to add is chest, then we move on and we add the next body part. So let's say the next body part is the biceps, then we go ahead and add triceps, and now let's add one more part, so let that be shoulders. So as you could see, we have our body parts with us, and now the next thing which we need to do is that as we have created the string array, and as we want to add the string array to this spinner right over here, so in order to do that, we go down here in the spinner tag and we write a simple line to refer to this. So we type Android entries and we specify the array name which we have used right now. So we type @array and then the array name is this, which is going to be the workout underscore types. So we simply copy this name and then we paste it right over here. So this thing basically is going to have a reference to an array, and the array to which it is going to have reference is going to be the workout types. So it is going to look for reference in the strings.xml file, and when it finds the workout types, it is going to take all these items and it is going to add it to the spinner. So now in order to check if our items have been added to the spinner, we simply save the code and we execute our application on the emulator. So as you could see, our application is up and running on the emulator, and this time the spinner is going to have some elements. So by default it is going to select the first element, which is going to be the chest, and if we click this button right here, it is going to display a set of options for us to choose from. So if we select biceps and we hit this button, nothing happens, and that is because we have not yet specified the method which takes place when we click the button. So in the next tutorial we'll be dealing with this button right here. So we are going to add a method to this button so that when we select an appropriate option from this, it is going to perform some changes to this text right here. In this tutorial we'll give life to this button right here. In the previous tutorial we have already learned how you could add up the elements to this spinner right here, and we have also run our application on the emulator and it displayed the elements inside this spinner right here, but whenever we tried to click this button, nothing happened, and that is because we have not added a call method to this button right here. So in this tutorial we are going to add a method to this button so that whenever the button is clicked, something happens. So in order to do that, we simply go into this text view right here and we are going to find the button which is present right over here, and to this button we are going to add the on click. So the on click basically specifies what happens when we click the button. So in order to add an on click, we type Android on click equals, and inside it we specify the method which we want to perform. Now in this case, as we don't have any of the method created right now, we type in here on click find workout and make sure that you spell it correctly. And now once this is done, we go to the find workout activity.java file, and as you could see, there is a bunch of code which is imported or which is already typed in for us by the Android Studio, and the thing is that we won't be needing all this code, so we go ahead and delete the unnecessary code. So from the toolbar I delete it right over here, and we are also going to delete these extra methods, and we are also going to delete these imports which we don't need right now. So basically the main reason for deleting it is to clean up the code so that we'll be dealing with the code which we are using in our application. So as you could see, this is our find workout activity class, and it is going to extend the app compact activity. Now instead of the app compact activity, you could just have activity right here. So this is also going to work fine, but the thing is that we are going to need to import this activity. So in order to import it, we type import, or instead of typing in this thing, we could simply go here and press Alt and enter, and it is going to automatically import the package for us. So it is one of the most efficient method to import packages, so you don't need to type in the code for importing any package. So now moving on to the tutorial. So once you are inside this find workout activity class, the next thing which we need to do is that we need to add this method which we have specified right over here. So in order to find it, we go inside this find workout activity class and we type in the method name. So the method name in this case is going to be on click find workout. So we simply copy it, go back to our Java file, and we type in public void, as this method is not going to return us anything, we declare void, and then we type in the method name which is on click find workout, and we are going to specify a parameter as view. So we type view, and the code for this method is going to be present in between these two curly braces. Now as you could see, we have an error here, and that is because we have not imported the view. So we simply press Alt and enter, and it is going to import the view for us. Now let's go ahead and let's write the code inside this onClick find workout. So basically, this onClick find workout method is going to find the workout for us, and it is going to return some value. So inside this, the first thing which we'll need to do is that we will need to have references to certain things. So the first thing which we need reference to is going to be this text view right here. So in order to get a reference to the text view, we type text view. Then as this text view is going to save the workouts, we type workouts equals, and to typecast it, we type the text view inside brackets, and then we get a reference to this by using the find view by ID. So we type find view by ID r.id dot, and in order to get the ID of the text view, if you don't remember, you just go back to this file, go to the text, and the ID of the text view is text view. So instead of having the ID as text view, let's change it to workout, and that is because it is ultimately going to store the workouts for us. So we type workout, and we use the same ID, so we copy it, go back here, and we paste it over here. So now we have the reference to the text view. Now the next thing which we will need to do is that we will need to have the reference to the spinner. So in order to have a reference to the spinner, we type spinner, and it is going to contain the body part. So basically we have named it as workout type. So for example, chest workout, biceps workout, and triceps workout. So we type here workout type equals, in brackets so as to typecast it, spinner, and find view by ID r.id dot workout types. And before referencing with the help of ID, we cross check if we have the same ID specified over here. So we go to the XML file, and as you could see, the ID of spinner is workout type. That means we are correct. Now the next thing which you'll need to do is that you'll need to have the value which is selected in the spinner, and you'll need a variable to store this value. So in order to store this value into certain variable, we go ahead and create a variable. So we type string, and let's say we want to save the workout, so we type workout equals string, and now as we want to extract the value, we type string dot value of, and the value which we are trying to extract is going to be the workout type dot get selected item. So workout type is nothing but the spinner. So inside the spinner, we want to choose the item which is selected. So the object for spinner is workout type, so we type workout type, and then we use the method get selected item in order to get the item which is selected inside the spinner. So we type dot get selected item, and it is going to return the value, or it is going to return the item which is selected. Now once we have this item with us, the next thing which we need to do is that we need to set the text of the text view. So the text view is nothing but workouts, so we type workouts dot set text, and set text is basically a method which is used to set the text of the certain text view. So inside it, the thing which we specify is going to be this thing right here, and that is because it is going to contain whichever value which is selected. So we simply paste the value here, and finally the value which is selected is going to be assigned to this workouts, which is nothing but our text view. So once this is done, we save the code and we try to run it on the emulator so as to check if our code performs correctly. So as you could see, our application is up and running, and when we simply select one of these body parts from the spinner, and when we click a button right here, as you could see, the part which is selected is displayed in the text right over here. So basically we go ahead and select some of the option from the spinner, then we click this button right here, and it is going to change the text to the option which is selected. So basically we are successful in adding up an action to this button, but the thing is that instead of displaying the text which is selected from the spinner, it should actually display the workout for the particular body part. So in the next tutorial we'll be creating a special Java class in order to deal with this. So basically whenever we are going to select a particular body part, it is going to assign a workout plan for us. We'll be creating a special Java class so as to assign a value of a workout to the particular body part. So in order to create a new Java class, you simply go on to your app folder, and inside the app folder you are going to have a folder which is called as Java. So simply click on it, and inside Java we are going to have two folders. So in order to check which folder which we want to use, you simply open up both the folders, and we are going to choose the folder which is going to contain our main activity or the find workout activity. So in order to add up a Java class to this folder right here, we simply right click on it and we go to new and select a Java class. And as this class is going to assign a workout, so let's name this class as workout expert.java. So we simply click OK, and as you could see, the class has been successfully created by us. So now the next thing which we need to do is that we need to add some code to this class. So basically we want to make this class to choose a particular workout plan depending upon the body part chosen. So in order to do that, we first create a list which will consist of strings. So we type list string and we name it as get workouts, and then inside brackets we type string workout types, as it is going to save the workout types. Now after it we give the opening and a closing curly bracket, and as you could see we have an error right over here, and that is because we have not imported the list. So we simply press Alt and enter, and it is going to import the list for us. Now once we are done with this, the next thing which we do is that we also need to specify a list within this. So we type list string, and we are going to create a list string for the workouts. So we type workout equals new array list, and this array list is going to be of type string. So we type string here as well. Now once we have this array list, the next thing which we need to do is that we need to type in the logic which we are going to use to assign a particular workout. So for example, if the workout type is going to be chest, then we assign an appropriate workout to it. So if the workout type, if this is equals to chest, then in this case what we want to do is that we want to add a proper exercise to it. So we type workout dot add, and let's say we want to add bench press to it. So we type bench press, and let's say the second exercise which we want to add to the chest workout is going to be the cable flies. So we type workout dot add, and we type in cable flies. So let's say we have only two exercises in the chest workout. So now we move on to the other body parts. So let's add a workout for triceps. So we use the else if statement. So we type else if the workout type is equal to the triceps, then in this case we are going to use workout dot add tricep extensions, workout dot add tricep push downs, and then we add for shoulders. So we type else if workout type dot equals shoulder. Let's say we have only one exercise to it. So we type workout dot add shoulder press, and then finally we add for the bicep curl. So we type else if workout type dot equal, if this is equal to biceps, then we want to add bicep curls. So we type workout dot add bicep curls. So now we are done with designing the logic of our Java class. Now the next thing which we need to do is that we need to go out here and we need to return the value of workout. So we go right here and we type return, and we want to return the workout. So this thing basically is going to return this value which is present in either this, this or this. So that's it for this tutorial, and in the next tutorial we'll be finally using this Java class into our find workout activity Java class, and then finally we are going to run our application so as to check if our application performs correctly. This tutorial will be finally running our application, which is workouts advisor. But before running this application, there is one last thing which is remaining, and that is the logic which we have created here in the workout expert.java class. We need to use this into our main activity or our find workout activity.java. So in order to use it, what we do is that we go right here and we create an object for that class. So in order to create an object, we type private, and the class name which we are going to use is the workout expert. Then we type expert, which is the name of the object. Then we type equals new workout expert, which is again the name of the class, and we have created an object of this class right here which basically contains the logic. Now once we are done with this, the next thing which we need to do is that we need to go right here. So as you could remember, these two things are basically references which we have used in order to get reference to the text view as well as the spinner. Now this thing right here is going to extract the item which is selected from the spinner, and this line of code right here was used in order to set the text. But now in this case we are going to comment this line of code, and that is because we are not going to use it anymore. And the next line of code which you want to add over here is that you want to add up a list. So we type list, and as this is going to be a string list, so we type string, and the list we are using in this case is going to be the workout list. So we type workout list equals, and we are going to make use of an object. So we type the object name, which is in this case expert. So we type expert. Then inside the expert we are going to use the method which is called as the get workout. So we type dot get workouts, and to it we are going to pass the workout. So this is basically going to return the workouts, and it is going to store it in the string which is called as the workout list. Now the next thing which we are going to do is that we are going to create a string builder, and we are going to format the results properly. So we type string builder, and let's name the object as workouts formatted. So we type workouts formatted equals new string builder. So we basically have an object of the string builder created. Now we go ahead and use this object. So before using this object, we are going to write a for loop so as to extract each and every workout which is present for a particular part. So we type for string work colon workout list. So for each workout present in the workout list, we are going to type workouts formatted dot append, and append means nothing but attach. So to this we are going to attach the work. So work is basically the workout which we are going to use. Now the names in this tutorial are a bit confusing, so once again just try to remember all those names, or if you can't remember, you just note it down somewhere else. Now the next thing which we need to do is that we also need to append a /n so as to give a line break between them. So we type dot append, and inside this we specify a /n, which is nothing but a new line. Now once this is done, we finally exit out of this for loop, and we are going to set the text of the text view, and the text view is nothing but the workouts which we have used right over here. So we type workouts dot set text, and to it we are going to pass on this object right here. So we copy it and we paste it over here. So once we are done with this, we are finally done with the code for our workouts advisor. Now in order to check if we have performed each and everything correctly, we simply save the code and we run our application on the emulator. So as you could see, our application is up and running, and when we click on this thing right here, we get several options. And now let's select biceps, and when we click this button right here, it is going to show us the workout plan, which is bicep curls, and it is going to show us only one workout plan or only one workout for a particular part. That is because we have added only one, so you could add multiple workouts to a particular body part. So now if we switch to chest and click this button right here, it is going to display two workouts for us. So the first workout is going to be the bench press, and then we are going to have cable flies. So that's how you create a basic workouts advisor application. So the main purpose of creating this application was to understand how a particular application is created, how the different IDs of different widgets are affected by each other. Now the only confusing part in this tutorial, or the part where you could go wrong, is in the IDs and in the names of the objects. So the names and the IDs could be pretty confusing. So in order to avoid confusion, you simply use different names, or you could use the same names but you just note them down on a piece of paper so that it becomes easy for you while referencing them. So thank you very much for watching this tutorial, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Thank you.